Hello, welcome back. Another radio video on Freddy in the Shed 1. Thanks for joining us. Always welcome, of course. Going to go on the radio in a minute, but I specifically want to catch Paul in Luton. His call sign escapes me. I have got it written down somewhere. Now, Paul has been heard on some of my other videos, and for some reason I just struggle with his signal. I think it's more our geographical locations than either one of our setups. Paul's got a pretty decent antenna. He's got a Game Master antenna. I don't know how high it is, but yeah, he seems to get out to other stations. He gets out across London, but I just seem to struggle with him for some reason. Don't know quite why. Anyway, so Paul uses two radios on sideband. He's got a Superstar 9900. Which I can sort of hear him, you know, okay, or reasonably okay on a good day. But his favourite radio is a Superstar 3900, which is kind of that one that's... I'll try and put up a picture if I can find one. But it's the one that looks like the old Cobra 148, you know, they sort of copied it. Although it's not as good as the old Cobra 148. And he prefers that radio because he says that he gets less interference, less QRM on that radio. But unfortunately the output on the 3900, which depending on which one you get, I think the standard one with the red display is 12 watts, because it's a UK legal radio. It's 4 watts AM, 4 watts FM, 12 watts sideband. There is another one. There is the export high, what they call high power model, and I think that's 10 watts AM, 10 watts FM and 20 watts sideband. But I believe Paul's got the UK legal version. So with his 12 watts on sideband, unfortunately just can't quite make contact with him. And it's not down to our setups. A lot of that is down to the fact that, you know, in modern day there's a lot of what we call QRM, which we keep referring to QRM, and what that is, that's man-made electrical interference. And pretty much that's things that you've got running around your house, and your neighbours have got, you know, cheap Chinese power supplies are legendary for causing interference. LED lighting around your house is another source. Could even be your broadband or your neighbour's broadband. Occasionally that can cause problems. And other electrical devices that, of course, we're now plagued with in the 21st century. We've all got them. If you add that all together in a big mixing pot, your static, or your background static, it just gets sort of higher and higher. And you'll notice that if you're on radio, if you go on at the weekend when a lot of people are home, you'll notice that your background noise has gone up, or the QRM has gone up. And in the week, perhaps, you know, midday when a lot of people are at work, it will drop back down. So with the level of QRM, you know, I suffer from it. Paul suffers from it. We have trouble to communicate on his 3900. So what he's done is he's gone out and he's bought himself a Zetagi B300p, which is a small little linear amplifier. Now, this is a very controversial subject, using linear amplifiers on 11 meters, and mainly because it's not legal. You are sort of, you know, breaking the law. I mean, I don't want to get too far into it on this video, but to be honest, I think everyone that I know and that I speak to is running what would be termed any legal radio setup. They're either using 10 meter or HF radios, or they're using a small linear amplifier or burner, whatever you want to call it, just to, you know, to reach boost their signal. And it's not to sort of, you know, be macho and to try and talk over people like it was back in the day. It's purely because everyone's now suffering. Certainly if you're home based, you know, you're suffering from this background level of QRM, and you just struggle with weaker signals once you get out to sort of 20 miles, you know. Unless you're right out in the middle of the country, in the middle of nowhere, you're going to struggle with these people. So just adding a little bit extra, you know, does help. You don't need to go stupid. I mean, I think the 300p, I think it does 300 watts apparently. You're never going to get that out of it, even if you run it flat out, and you don't need it to run flat out. But, you know, it's like having a car that will do 140 miles an hour. You're never going to run it, well, you shouldn't, at 140 miles an hour on the road. But of course, you know, when you're on the motorway, you're doing 60, 70 miles an hour. It's more comfortable than if you've got a car that obviously does 80 top whack. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, that's the bit. We're going to try and get Paul on the 305. I don't know if he'll be on today. If not, I'll edit this when I do get him. And I want to see if I can get him to perhaps turn the amplifier off and then turn it back on, and we'll see what difference it makes. And I'll tell you now, it will not make as much difference as you would expect if you've got no experience with linear amplifiers. You know, don't expect just because you've got a stonking amplifier you're going to treble your signal. You're not. You might be talking probably 1 or 2 S points at the most, but it might just get your voice heard above QRM, above a pile up. If you've got a lot of QSKs coming in, it might just get you heard. But don't expect miracles. You know, there's no point in running loads and loads of power. Look at your antenna. If you want it, if you're having trouble, go look at, maybe upgrade your antenna, maybe upgrade your coaxial. Take a few switches out of line in your coaxial run. You know, just banging in loads of power is not the solution for a decent setup. But obviously, it can help you in certain circumstances. Okay, enough talking from me. Let's get on the 305 and see if Paul's available. It's a bit manic on here tonight. Lots of distant stations, which is good. Charlie Tango 1664, Fred in the Shed, St Albans calling in, QSL.
He's on the 9900, he's got the amplifier out of circuit at the minute, mate.
Oh, Roger. I don't know if there's any chance that he might put the 39 on with the amplifier. I just really want to know what difference it makes. I'll get a bit of video for him back Tuesday.
Yeah, Paul, did you get that, mate? Okay, mate, I'll see you in a minute. Yeah, the guy that, I think your name's Pete.
So that was Paul on the 9900 there. So it'd be interesting to see what the 39 does with the little bit of extra help. Cheers there, Kev. Yeah, thanks for that report. Yeah, break, go ahead. 1664 for you. Oh, Roger, Paul. Right, okay, right, so, let's just get this right. So you're on the 3900, Paul. So have you got the Zetagi 300 running, Roger?
Yeah, I'm on that now.
Oh, Roger, Paul. Yeah, I can hear you. I would say you're probably coming through very similar to the 9900 there. But yeah, you're certainly making it through. It's a difficult day as well. But yeah, you're making it through the St Albans, Paul. That's great. Back to you. Okay there, Paul. Paul, just for the experimental stakes, can you just switch it off, Paul? Switch it off for the next over and just go on the standard 12 watts and I'll see what I can hear, Roger. Right, yeah, Paul, on the standard 12, your signal dropped right out, unfortunately. Went right into the static there and I lost you. So, yeah, it's certainly doing the business for you. As I say, signal's coming in. I don't know what you've got it turned up at, but the signal's coming in very similar to the 9900. Back to you, Paul. Yeah, that's a copy. That made quite a bit of difference there, Paul. I've got the +10 annuator on the radio, so I can't give the signal, but it went up to about 8. But that's probably about a genuine 2 to 3. But yeah, that actually did make quite a difference. It certainly improved your audio there, Paul. Just shows you what it does, mate. Back to you.
Cheers for that, Fred.
Okay, Paul. I've got a bit out on video. I will want to get time. A bit busy at the moment. I will put it up on video for you. Anyway, don't want to hog this because there's a lot of people on. Steve, I'm just going to finish my bit of video. So is it okay if I go back to you? 318 from 1664, Rog?
Yeah, Roger. Yeah, no worries. I'm still filming myself, like I normally do on the way home. I don't always upload it, but I may upload this, I may not. Like you, mate, it's time. So, Paul, bring Pete in.
So we'll just let that go on for a minute. So there you heard, that was Paul with that Zetagi 300p. You know, on a lower setting, I mean, you never get what these things tell you they put out. You know, do you know what I mean? It's a pinch of salt. But on the lower setting, I don't know what he was running, but I could hear him, and it's a very difficult day today on the radio. There's got a lot of interference coming in, but I could hear him, and then I think you'd notice when he went back to the standard 12 watts. Unfortunately, you know, his signal just faded straight out into the static. I'm not saying that, you know, if we were sitting somewhere in the countryside and he was in one farmhouse and I'm on another farmhouse, we could probably do, you know, 25-30 miles no problem on 12 watts. But unfortunately, you know, when you're in a built-up area, you've got lots of buildings between you, lots of local interference. So it does work, you know, these amplifiers, you know, it does. So anyway, as I was saying, it's probably not the best demonstration in the world, you know, and it's not a particularly good, clear kind of day for doing tests like that. So, you know, one thing you've got to bear in mind is, let's just take the Grant 2 here, for example. You know, this is a 12-watt sideband UK legal radio. Pretty good radio, probably on par with the 3900. One thing you just got to work out, if you're starting out, you know, and you're thinking, yeah, I'll get myself a nice legal SSB, you know, sideband radio, and I'll get myself a linear amplifier as well, like it's one of the larger Zetagi range. Just work out the costs. You know, these are now going for just over £200 now, which not going to pass too much comment on that. Then you're looking at, say, £150 for a quite you know, medium-sized linear amplifier. I mean, obviously they go a lot more expensive than that, but just sort of bear in mind, I don't know if you can see this, but you know, on my setup, you've seen my setup before. Down the bottom here, it's getting on a bit now, but the Alinco DX77 HF radio, again, not legal, of course, to use on 11 meters. We're not we've drifted away from legality here. Okay, you've got to take that extra step if that's what you want to do. But the DX77, I paid $225 for that. Yeah, $225 for my ham, and I widebanded that myself. Very easy to do. And then more recently with the Alinco DX SR8, which is superior to the 77 because it's got voice processing as well, $285. So, you know, work out your CB rate 200, a burner on top, say 150, you're up to 350. You're well in the range of second-hand HF equipment. You might feel a bit funny about using HF equipment, you know, on 11 meters. That's another subject. But with these, if you're home base, obviously these radios are much better at handling interference and QRM. They've got more filtration on there. You might get DSP, you might not, depending on, I don't know, for 350 you probably won't get DSP, but you don't really need it, to be honest. So, you know, if you're starting out and you're thinking CB radio burner, well, have a look around. You know, you might be better off. As long as you don't mind a learning curve, buying yourself a used HF radio, and then of course with that you can turn the power right down as well. You don't need to use great loads of power. You can switch it down to a local power setting. It might be a better buy for you, and also, of course, you can use it as a receiver. You can go onto the ham bands. You don't transmit on the ham bands. Don't be a pirate. You know, don't be a knob. You know, play the game, but you can go onto the ham bands and you can listen. So you can listen to the ham bands, and then hopefully, you know, that will lead on to a foundation course, and then maybe an intermediate course, and then you can use your radio properly. Which I know people are going to say, oh, I should be doing. Yeah, I know all that. When I get time, when I retire, okay, too busy at the moment. but you have the equipment already there. So a few things to think about. But anyway, that was Paul with that 3900, and it certainly made a difference. And that was a very difficult day as well. I really didn't think I was going to get him. I wouldn't have been able to hear him without it. On a clearer day, I think that would have made even more difference. Anyway, I'm waffling on. I'm going to get back on the net. I'm not going to show you the rest of that because you've seen all that before. But cheers. Thank you very much for tuning in. Subscribe if you want more of these videos. I will be putting some more videos up in 2018, getting a new camera as well. So hopefully the quality will improve because I'm a bit behind. So, you know, press that subscribe button to get some more. Give it a thumbs up. You know, it helps the channel, helps me out as well. So give it a thumbs up if you like these videos. And cheers, and I'll catch you all on the next one.